Hola, hola, bienvenidos a Esperanza Pense, donde la esperanza vence. Welcome to Esperanza Pense, where hope wins. Today, we chaos gardeners are prepping for chaos. And we can prep for prepping for chaos long before the weather even permits us to get outside. If you live in a climate like me, I have seasons. 4 of them allegedly, although I think we're moving quickly down to 2 seasons with a couple of burps and farts in between. Anyhow, you can prep for prepping your garden containers and soil by imagining what kind of plants you would like to have, by being in observation mode. Which way is the sun going? Have the neighbors cut down any trees? Have we moved locations? Just all the kind of imaginary things that we might want to do in our mind before we even set foot in the garden to start cleaning up and getting our containers ready. Prepping also includes starting seeds indoors and considering any type of pests, diseases, or animals that have bothered your garden in the past, and how are we going to proactively get ahead of that this year. Okay, so now it's late winter, early spring, and we're moving from imagination time into reality, where we're looking around the yard and deciding which containers to repurpose and what needs to get cleaned up. We also may find certain plants have reseeded. This year I had my chives come back. My parsley came back in this container, and my mustard greens came back in a literally dirt that I was not expecting anything to come back in. My marigolds come back everywhere as usual. So just take a look around and see what treasures await. So now you're gonna go around the garden and do a little bit of early spring cleaning, late winter, early spring cleaning. You are gonna grab up some leaves and twigs and anything that doesn't have seeds on it that you're worried about. Like obviously you're not gonna wanna use like anything that has burdock seeds on it, or it's pretty obvious. If you don't want stickers in your garden, then don't put debris that has like thorns and stickers on it, but it's pretty safe to say that if you use this container last year, you can take the debris from there and just sort of compost it down into the bottom, because you might have to add some. In my case, I had to add some fresh dirt on the top, so I'm just pulling down all of the tomato vines and dead stuff from last year, and on the top you can see some zinnia stalks and some stalks from, I think, a snapdragon and Persian carpet zinnia. So just pretty much anything that you would feel safe having in your container, you can use that debris to sort of fill the bottom of the container. The first layer, you're going to want to put some rocks. Those are already down there. And then you're going to want to put, any type of garden debris. If you're cleaning anyway, just put it in the bottom. Then you could put some crap dirt on top of that. And then on top of that is when we start to really care about the dirt that we're using, because that's the stuff for our food. So here's an example of a repurposed container where I put large rocks on the bottom, and then I put some debris in there from my yard cleanup, and then I put some crap dirt, and now on the top here you can see where there's more organic matter. We have like a little bit of vermiculite to give it some space to breathe, and later on when I water everything in, I'm going to use a really weak fertilizer solution, because this year I did not mix compost into my dirt, into the topsoil. This is just like super cheap topsoil that I got at the hardware store for like $2.99, 40-pound bag. I mean, it was so cheap. And then I also got potting soil. This topsoil that you see is mixed with the potting soil, and I will be fertilizing that. And I already have a lot of bioavailable organic matter that I'm working with, so I wasn't really that worried about compost. But if you don't have your own compost in the yard and you want to buy a bag of it, you're more than welcome to do that. Just mix it up till it looks dark and pretty. Okay, you got your dirt prepped. Now here's where the chaos comes in. You can either let your dirt rest indefinitely at that point, if it's still too cold out, you're still getting some, below 30 degrees, winter cold snaps, below freezing type weather. Then you can just leave the dirt as it is. But once it starts to be at a point in time where you're pretty confident that for the most part your dirt's going to be about between 50 and 60 degrees, then you can start to broadcast your cover crop. I use cover crops in my container gardening. Farmers have been doing this for years. We do this at the farm where I worked, and at many farms where I've been a worker. And basically, the method behind cover cropping is that it nourishes the dirt, it holds the dirt where it needs to be. It starts getting that sort of the microbes and the biome. It gets the biome going basically in your little container, because your little container is its own little ecosystem. So it's early spring and we're broadcasting all kinds of seeds all over our containers. So some containers are going to have like this, for example, is mescaline greens. I have containers with zinnias and kale and any type of, like I like to call them, early risers. So we're going to do, our flower seed, our greens, our lettuces, and so forth. And then we're going to water those in with a light fertilizer solution. I am not endorsed by this product yet, but just saying, this is what I use, but a weaker solution than the directions say. When you're confident that the night temperatures aren't going to dip down much past, 50 degrees or so, you can pretty much direct sow cucumber, melon, squash, and if you had already direct sown those when there still was a cold snap or two, you can do another round now, just in case the seeds that you put there before didn't germinate. That's what I did, and I'm glad I did, because the first round I did too early. They had a cold snap and they didn't germinate well yet. They might be stunted. Check out my hillbilly garden tour to see more about that. I'll put a little link below. Then you want to do your sunflower, your onions, your potatoes, your squash, your morning glories. If you do plant morning glories or an ornamental like that, some seeds germinate better if you soak them overnight. So sunflowers, they say to scratch the surface of them, but you can look that up online and see what is the best way to germinate your seeds. So we're going to plant our seeds thick, but then we're going to thin them out as we go. We're going to pay attention to the needs of the individual. There's a cucumber that came up on the second round of seeds that I planted, and it germinated. So I pulled away some of the pea plants that were surrounding it, so it has a little bit of room to do its thing and grow. And if this looks like complete chaos to you and you can't identify the plants, there's morning glory seeds up at the top of the scene, and in the middle here on the left hand side and the right hand side we have kale, green kale. There's some marigolds coming up, some cut and come again zinnias, some Persian zinnias, some mums, some cone flowers. There's a lot of stuff going on in here, and if you can't tell the difference between the seedlings, and even I can't all the time, it's okay. You can just wait until they grow a little bit and then see what you want to keep and see what needs to go. After you're pretty confident that nighttime temperatures aren't going to dip much past like 50 degrees, not much lower than 50 degrees, 55 degrees or so, maybe 45 degrees if you like living a little dangerously, you can start to transplant your peppers, your tomatoes, anything that needs to come outside. If you need to bring it outside though, I would recommend bringing it outside little by little. They call it hardening off. So you bring it outside for a couple hours and then a couple hours more, and let it kind of get used to being outside, because it was inside in a more controlled climate. And I didn't do any of that. I just plopped this pepper right in the pot when I got back from my friend Lucy's house. That she started this bell pepper for me, but you can see in the pot we have all our other chaos. We have our marigolds are coming up. I'm pretty sure in the lower left hand side of the screen that's a calendula flower. There are onions in this pot. There's like a lot going on. So once everything starts to grow, we can identify what everything is. We can thin things out as needed. Obviously, you want to move your containers. If it seems like something needs more sun, then with the container gardening, it's so much easier to be able to move the plants where the plants will be happy if they're not doing well where you have them stationed. Be sure to weed water and do a light fertilizer like once a month. And when I transplant, I'm absolutely going to try some wild things like putting a banana peel underneath my tomato plant. I'm going to transplant my habanero into those lettuce greens, those arugula greens, those mesclun greens. So the cover crop is for us to enjoy while the weather is kind of cool out and not much is coming in. And then when the cover crop gets hot and tired, then we plant our heat-loving crops like tomatoes and peppers and so forth. So keep following my mundane magic playlist if you want to add a touch of glamour to your day-to-day chores. And let's learn together. Let's learn together how to be chaos gardeners and channel the chaos into healthy harvest. Thank you so much for fine-tuning your free will and intuition with me. You already knew I was a channeler, and that I have channels. I have Esperanza Bense Tarot and I have Esperanza Bense, and I would love it if you would like, share, and subscribe to both of those to receive more information on the tarot, astrology, gardening, and music vibes. Bye. Oh, you can support me by doing any of the following. You can like, share, subscribe on YouTube, book a consultation, or donate via Venmo or PayPal. All the information is at esperanzabense.com. Love you, bye.